Okay, so you're here because, well, you want to get up to speed quickly, right? Get the real insight.
Exactly.
So let's just jump right in. This deep dive, it's kind of your shortcut to understanding a pretty big evolution happening on LinkedIn, like right now in 2025.
Yeah, it really is a significant shift. We're seeing this move away from, the super polished, perfectly curated image that LinkedIn used to be all about.
Right.
Today, we're digging into why things like authenticity and personal storytelling are suddenly front and center on the platform.
And we've looked at some really interesting stuff that explores, the reasons behind it all, and maybe more importantly, how you can actually use this shift.
Hmm.
So our mission today basically is to figure out why LinkedIn is leaning into this more genuine, sometimes, yeah, even vulnerable content, and then pull out some like practical things you can do.
Okay, so let's think back. For ages, LinkedIn was, well, it was a place for your formal updates, wasn't it? Your digital CV, that very buttoned up professional front.
Oh, totally. Job changes, company wins, maybe a conference you attended, very standard.
But that's just not the whole picture anymore.
Yeah.
It's actually fascinating how much users are now valuing genuine connection, real experiences.
Yeah, it seems like the posts that really take off now, the ones people engage with, are often where people share what's actually going on, including the messy bits.
Exactly. The challenges, the failures, and crucially, what they learned from it all. It's like people are tired of just the highlights.
There's definitely a desire for that raw, maybe unfiltered reality of what it's like working, building a career, running a business.
People seem less interested in just the success stories now. We want the context.
Remember when it was all just crush this goal, launch this project perfectly?
Oh, yeah. Nonstop wins.
Now it's almost the opposite sometimes. People are talking about burnout, feeling like an imposter, that constant juggle between work and life, stuff that felt taboo before.
And it's not just complaining either. It's honest reflection. Sometimes it's even finding the humor in the everyday grind of business. That really seems to connect.
It does, which really begs the question, doesn't it? Why? Why this major swing towards like showing our rough edges on the platform that was built for shiny professionalism? What's behind it?
Where I think fundamentally it comes down to relatability. It's 2025, and people online, LinkedIn included, are just craving something real. They want to connect with the human behind the job title.
They want to understand the journey, not just the destination.
Precisely. The whole journey, the ups and the downs. It's not just showing the wins anymore. It's about presenting, well, the whole picture, including the lessons learned the hard way.
So sharing those struggles, it actually makes people seem more human.
Absolutely. It humanizes the whole thing. Whether you're an entrepreneur or climbing the corporate ladder, sharing vulnerabilities makes you seem more approachable, more like someone they could actually grab a coffee with, not just a list of achievements.
And that builds trust, I guess.
Huge trust. That honesty, that willingness to be a bit vulnerable, it creates a different kind of connection. It goes beyond just celebrating success. People feel like they're following your growth, your real story.
Like you mentioned with burnout and imposter syndrome.
Yeah, think about that. A few years ago, who was talking about mental health struggles or feeling like a fraud in a LinkedIn post? Almost no one.
Right. It would have felt risky.
Totally. But now, someone shares that kind of struggle, and often the comments are full of people saying, "Me too," or sharing their own experiences. It sparks real conversations.
It shows the community actually wants that real talk. They want to know they're not alone in facing those professional hurdles.
So, okay, that's the trend, the why.
Yeah.
But what does it actually look like?
Yeah.
Who's doing this well? How are people using this authentic approach effectively?
Well, we're seeing some great examples, especially from entrepreneurs. They're really connecting by just being more open. And it's not just, standard company news.
Yeah.
They're weaving in their personality, their actual human experiences into their brand's narrative. And that's where the engagement skyrockets.
And it shows up in different ways, right? Like I've seen founders talk really openly about those near-miss moments, when the business almost went under.
Oh, yeah. Those stories are gripping.
They are. Sharing how they navigated that, how they pulled it back from the brink. It's powerful stuff. Why do you think that hits home so hard?
Well, probably because everyone has moments of panic or faces huge obstacles. Hearing someone else got through it, it gives you hope, maybe some ideas, makes success feel less like magic and more like, well, perseverance.
Yeah, that makes sense. And then there were the stories about early mistakes, things that felt like total failures back then.
Right, the pivots, the lessons learned.
Exactly. Sharing how those failures actually set them up for later success, that shows incredible self-awareness and, frankly, resilience. It reframes failure as part of the process.
And it's not always dramatic, near-death business experiences either. Sometimes it's just the reality of, say, juggling kids in a startup.
Oh, definitely. That really resonates. Sharing the challenges of balancing family life, personal commitments with the demands of building something. It's a universal struggle for so many people.
It reminds you there's a whole person behind the profile picture.
And we can't forget humor. You see people making light of the everyday weirdness of work life now?
Like the endless Zoom calls
Or trying to multitask like crazy, or those awkward client moments. People aren't afraid to poke fun at it. How do you think humor fits into this authenticity thing?
I think it just instantly lowers the guard. If you can laugh about the common struggles, it makes you seem way more relatable, less intimidating. Shows you don't take yourself too seriously.
Yeah, it builds that sense of camaraderie, like we're all in this slightly absurd thing together.
It signals there's a real human there, someone who gets the funny side of business.
Okay, so the shift makes sense. We see how people are doing it, but let's get practical for the listener. If someone's thinking, all right, I get it, but how do I actually use this? How can being authentic help me grow my network? What are the steps?
Well, the absolute baseline, I think, is just be genuine. Don't try to craft some perfect fake version of yourself. Show up as you, flaws and all. People sniff out fakeness pretty quick, don't they?
Oh, definitely. Authenticity has to be, well, authentic, and a really good starting point, practically speaking, is sharing your origin story.
Your how it started story.
Yeah. People love a narrative. How did you get here? What was the spark? Especially if you're open about the bumps along the way, maybe starting with nothing, struggling for that first client, the doubts you had. Why is that so effective?
I think it grounds you. It shows your journey, your grit. And if someone else is just starting out, they see that and think, okay, they face challenges too. Maybe I can do this. It creates an instant connection.
Building on that, don't hide the struggles. Acknowledging them is key.
You mean like the burnout or imposter syndrome we talked about?
Exactly. Or specific setbacks you faced and how you worked through them. Sharing that stuff, it doesn't make you look weak. It makes you relatable, and it shows you learn and grow. Perfection isn't the goal here.
Makes sense. And humor again.
Right. Yeah, definitely bring in the humor where it feels natural. Those funny little anecdotes about work life, the chaos of entrepreneurship, maybe even team inside jokes if appropriate. It just lightens the mood and makes you more approachable. Just, read the room.
And it's not just about broadcasting your stuff, is it?
No, absolutely not. Authenticity goes both ways. You need to engage genuinely with other people too. Respond to comments thoughtfully. Share posts from others that you actually find interesting. Join conversations. It's about building real connections, not just collecting followers.
Being part of the community.
Right. And finally, consistency matters. Authentic content doesn't have to be a massive, soul-bearing post every time.
Phew. Okay. Good.
Yeah, sharing smaller insights, daily lessons, observations from your work, that regular, genuine presence builds trust over time. It's about consistently showing up as yourself.
So pulling it all together, it seems pretty clear that for 2025, this authenticity thing on LinkedIn, it's not just like a passing fad. It's genuinely reshaping how people connect professionally.
Yeah, I'd say so. Those real stories, even the ones that feel a bit rough around the edges, they're the ones building deeper, more solid connections.
It's less about crafting that flawless image and more about sharing the actual journey.
Like you said earlier, no matter how messy or imperfect it may seem, that's the key.
It comes back to that basic idea. People connect with people. So if you're listening and you're a business owner, an entrepreneur, maybe building your personal brand, that's crucial to remember.
People want to know the how. How did you get there? Sharing the tough times, the mistakes, the hard-won lessons, that's what grabs attention now. That's what drives real engagement.
So wrapping up this deep dive, the big takeaway really is authenticity is vital on LinkedIn in 2025. It's how you build real, lasting business relationships now.
Couldn't agree more. So our advice to you is, well, start sharing your story. Don't be afraid to be a bit vulnerable. Just focus on being yourself in your posts and interactions.
Because really, the more genuine you are, the stronger those connections are going to be.
Definitely. And maybe a final thought to leave you with. Think about your own path. Is there one moment, maybe a struggle you overcame or a key lesson you learned, that if you shared it honestly might really click with someone else in your network? Something to mull over.